Jason Statham versus an entire cargo ship full of mercenaries. That sounds like exactly the kind of ridiculous action movie that should work. And the funny thing is, the action actually does work. The problem is, Mutiny has one major weakness that keeps it from becoming another Beekeeper. So is this Jason Statham's next big action hit or just another one-man army movie you've already seen 5 times? Let's break it down. Mutiny is directed by Jean-François Richet, the same filmmaker behind Plane, and it stars Jason Statham alongside Annabelle, Wallis and Roland Møller. The movie is also only 95 minutes long, which tells you exactly what kind of experience this is. It wants to get in, hit you with some action, and get out. And honestly, that part works. Statham plays Cole Reed, a former Special Forces operative and security professional whose billionaire boss is suddenly murdered. But Cole doesn't just lose his boss, he gets blamed for the whole thing. Now he's on the run, trying to figure out who actually set him up. And his investigation eventually takes him onto a massive cargo ship called the Artemis. That's where the movie really gets started. Because Cole discovers that this ship is hiding something much bigger than the murder he's investigating. And now he's stuck out at sea, surrounded by armed mercenaries, with basically nobody coming to save him. This is the kind of setup where Jason Statham should be in his element, and thankfully, he is. At 59, Statham still looks convincing when the movie asks him to throw someone through a wall or take down 3 guys in a cramped corridor. The best fights are the close-range ones. There aren't a lot of superhero-style moves where everyone goes flying for 20 feet. Instead, the fights feel heavy, punches hurt, bodies hit metal, people slam into walls. And because so much of the movie takes place inside tight ship corridors, stairways, and industrial rooms, there's a real sense that Cole is fighting in a space where one wrong move could put him in serious trouble. That physicality is probably the biggest reason to watch Mutiny. The production also helps. The ship itself gives the movie a great environment for action. You have these huge industrial spaces, narrow passageways, metal machinery, and the open ocean surrounding everything. It makes the movie feel more grounded than a lot of modern action films that rely heavily on CGI. And the best part? The movie doesn't waste much time. At 95 minutes, Mutiny knows exactly what its audience came for. There are no huge detours, no unnecessary romance, no 10-minute speech explaining the meaning of life. You came to watch Statham fight bad guys on a ship. The movie gives you Statham fighting bad guys on a ship. But here's where things start to fall apart, because the more you think about the story, the more familiar it feels. Cole gets framed. Cole goes after the people responsible. Cole discovers a bigger conspiracy. The villains keep coming, and Statham keeps beating them. If you've watched a lot of Jason Statham movies, you can probably predict the basic rhythm before the movie gets there. And that's the biggest problem with Mutiny. The action is stronger than the story. The movie has a potentially interesting setup, but it doesn't do enough with it. Even the villains feel like they're mostly there to give Statham somebody to punch. Roland Møller gets the job done as the ship's dangerous captain, but the character never becomes the kind of villain you genuinely can't wait to see defeated. And Annabelle Wallis is given a role that feels useful to the plot, but not especially memorable. That's a shame because the movie actually could have used stronger supporting characters. Because when your main character is basically an unstoppable killing machine, the supporting cast needs to give the audience something else to care about. Mutiny doesn't quite get there. The gunfights are another example. The hand-to-hand combat has weight and personality. The shooting action? Much more ordinary. There are plenty of bullets, explosions, and people getting thrown around. But it rarely feels like the movie is reinventing this kind of action. And that's basically the entire experience of Mutiny. You've seen most of this before. But the question is whether you've seen it done well enough to enjoy anyway. And I think the answer is yes. Just don't expect something groundbreaking. This isn't a movie that is going to change Jason Statham's career. It isn't trying to be the next John Wick. It isn't giving you some complicated action masterpiece. It's a straightforward, violent, old-school action movie that understands why people show up for Jason Statham in the first place. If you're already a Statham fan and you enjoy close-range, brutal action, I think you'll have a good time with this. But if you're only mildly interested, I wouldn't rush to the theater, wait for the OTT release, because Mutiny is fun, it's fast, it's got some genuinely solid action. But it doesn't give you enough story or memorable villains to make it feel essential. I'm giving Mutiny a 6.5 out of 10 for Statham fans. Theater-worthy for everyone else. This is a perfectly good OTT movie. And honestly, sometimes that's all you need from a movie like this. If you've watched Mutiny, let me know whether you think Statham still has what it takes to carry these one-man army movies. And if you enjoyed this review, stick around for the next one.